On October the 7th, can we agree that Hamas did that and it should be condemned?
Well, on October the 7th, Palestinian fighters from the Gaza Strip came out and, engaged in acts of resistance. And so I don't think there's any room to condemn people who resist oppression, occupation, and apartheid. I think if there's anything to condemn, it's to condemn the apartheid state, the brutal savagery that Israel has been inflicting on Palestinians for 75 years, and the fact that it brought the state of Israel and the Zionist movement brought the situation to a place where tens of thousands of Palestinian bodies now lay dead, and the situation in Palestine is perhaps more severe than it's ever been before. So I believe that is the terrorism that needs to be condemned. To condemn people who resist oppression, I think, is outrageous.
Did they kill 1,300 people?
We don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. But the only thing we do know is that many Israelis were killed as a result of Israeli fire. We know that for a fact. That's been stated by the Israelis themselves. It's been stated in the Israeli press several times. A witness from Kibbutz Be'eri, where I had cousins, testified that she saw the tanks shelling homes in which many hostages were sitting, were placed. And so we know that many were killed by Israeli fire. We know that Israeli Apache helicopters shot indiscriminately and killed many Israelis. We don't know if Palestinians killed, and if they did, how many. We don't know that because the information is not available yet. We also know that Israel has been engaged in murdering tens of thousands now, over 20,000 Palestinians, innocent Palestinians, and even killing Israeli hostages in the Gaza Strip. So we know that as well. So once again, if there's anyone to condemn, it's the Zionists, the Zionist movement, the state of Israel, that is the actor in Palestine, and do everything we possibly can to bring down this racist regime and replace it with a free, democratic Palestine, which will which will lead to a peace between the people and prevent this sort of violence.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't really at the beginning, because if we really want to go to beginning, we'll go all the way back in history. But even on October 7th, I mean, last debate that we had between you and Ivan Lewis, you referenced Amnesty International as a credible source, and Amnesty International actually put out a statement about October 7th. I mean, I can read it out for you if you want, I've got it down, but they put out a statement about October 7th saying that they verified that Hamas did a lot of killing, and they actually did a lot of really bad stuff.
Yeah, well, that's not the information I have. As far as I know, there's no credible information knowing for sure anything except that the Israelis killed many Israeli civilians.
Okay, Joseph?
Okay, so it's quite shocking to hear this, Miko. You are a fellow Jew. You're born in Israel. I think you still have Israeli citizenship. You just referenced your cousins who live in Be'eri. And a few weeks after, I think 2 or 3 weeks after the massacre, I visited the Gaza envelope. I visited the kibbutzim. I met with the survivors. I watched the press screening. I watched Hamas carry out what you described as resistance, which they filmed themselves, and I've seen with my eyes. And if you would like, I've got much of this evidence which I can share in the chat. I don't want to get the stream banned, so I'm not going to share it publicly. But I will share it with you. Videos of Hamas beheading people, videos of Hamas murdering children, videos of Hamas indiscriminately shooting at festival goers as they run across the field, shooting at them as if they're game. We have hundreds of testimonies of rape, witness testimonies of acts of rape, and we have pictures of beheaded corpses from soldiers. And this is also on all the Telegram channels. So if anyone wants to go on Palestinian Islamic Jihad, many of the Palestinian, as you described them, resistance groups, post this on their Telegram. You can go on there, you can view the videos from their sources, carrying out some of the most barbaric acts that are imaginable. You're describing these horrors that they inflicted on your people as resistance. As I mentioned before, I've met your brother-in-law. I see him as a peace activist. He's lost what I cannot imagine. He's been through what I cannot imagine, yet he's committed himself to peace between Israelis and Palestinians. Your father, your grandfather, were men of peace. Miko, no, I will not. I did not interrupt you. You do me the courtesy of listening. I sat through your bile and I did not speak once.
Family out.
Wait, let Joseph, you can quickly finish and then we can go to Miko.
Your family, which I will not leave out of it because we are one family, we are one people.
We are not
a people of peace.
You and I are not. You and I have not.
Are people.
You're right.
Are people of peace.
Justify murder and
Are people of peace. Miko, I think we're going to have to mute while each other's talking. Otherwise, I don't think Miko's capable of self-censoring.
No, wait. So Joseph, just go. Let's go.
Okay. When you're ready, Miko, you can sit quietly. I sat through your pile. Please sit through mine.
So Miko's been quiet. Joseph, are you able to go?
Yes. So these are people of peace. You call yourself a peace activist, yet you're a man of war. You describe savagery as resistance. You do everything that you can to deflect from the horrors of terrorist dogs that butcher women, that butcher the elderly, that butcher children. And you disgustingly, shamefully describe this as resistance. This is not resistance. This is savagery. You also then went on to make numerous outrageous claims that the majority, I think you said, were killed by Israelis. Provide any source. You said it's well documented in the Israeli press. Are you talking about the Haaretz piece that was rejected by the police, who said they were not commenting on IDF helicopters? They were commenting on the police, and then that was twisted by Haaretz, who had to retract effectively what they'd said. Is this your evidence? Provide your sources. You present yourself as a serious intellect, as an academic. Provide your sources and justify now to the people how you believe that chopping off the heads of infants, and I will show you the pictures in the chat if you deny this, chopping off the heads of infants is resistance.
So basically, Joseph, that got really personal there. But Miko, if you actually talk about that, if you go back to the actual points that you made about the evidence, how would you respond to that?
There's no evidence. He's a liar. He's a known liar. He's a Zionist propagandist, and I'm not going to respond to this nonsense.
I mean, okay. So can I?
I'm not going to respond to Zionist lies. People who say these things. I don't think I'm. I'll answer your questions. I have nothing to say to him. I don't believe his evidence. I know his evidence is not evidence. He's a liar and a propagandist, and I've nothing to say to him.
So what about if I go back to the point that I made before about Amnesty International, because you referenced as a reasonable.
I'm not seeing it.
Can I read out their response? Their statement.
I haven't seen it, and I haven't seen the evidence that they've seen. But I stand by what I say until I'm convinced otherwise.
Okay, so I get. By the way, do you believe they've taken hostages in Gaza, or they've taken hostages from October the 7th?
Well, that was the purpose of the whole thing, is to take hostages so that they can negotiate the release of thousands of Palestinians who have been kidnapped by Israel and are languishing in Israeli prisons, or being tortured in Israeli jails. And so the whole purpose of this was to take hostages and then negotiate a prisoner exchange, which of course obviously lends itself to understanding why killing people makes no sense. If you want to take hostages to negotiate a prisoner release, why would you kill people? So that's all I have to say about that.